Warning, the section that will be immediately following the intro will be extremely loud. If you have headphones or have sensitive ears, I'd recommend lowering the volume for the section that will be shown in the time cards. But let's go straight to the video.
This will be a day long remembered. Now I am the master.
Welcome to another episode of Legends and Theories. Three rings for the Elven Kings under the sky. 7 for the Dwarf Lords in their halls of stone. 9 for mortal men doomed to die. 1 for the Dark Lord upon his dark throne in the land of Mordor, where the shadows lie. 1 ring to rule them all. 1 ring to find them. 1 ring to bring them all. And in the darkness bind them. In the land of Mordor, where the shadows lie. And welcome to my review of Barad-Dûr. And since this set is so massive and I have to actually physically hold my phone to get this shot, I will be breaking the set into its smaller pieces to look at. But just for a comparison, here is what it looks like next to the Orthanc and Daily Bugle sets. So you just have a kind of sense of size, and it is about the same height as the Bugle, although it includes a lot more pieces. So just to make things simpler, I'm going to break this into its smaller sections, but did want to get a good look at what it looks like compared to these other large LEGO sets that I do own that are tall, at least, since I do own the Death Star and Rivendell, but they're not as tall as this. So let's go into the review. Also, if you do want to be complaining about the surprise being ruined on that, you could blame my community post, because I wanted to scare everyone with that intro, which was a lot of fun to make, but no one else wanted that, so I did include a warning. So now let's go straight into the review. Now, beginning the review as it typically goes, let's look at the minifigures. And I'll be looking at them from probably least interesting to most. The first we have is this really basic skeleton. If we see really nothing different, it's just meant to go in a cage and not actually be removed from the set. But since he is essentially a minifigure, I did decide to show him off. And actually, let's zoom in a little more for these other ones. So I did want to show off the tower in its fullest for at least a moment. The next is a reuse of Sam. Really nothing much to do with him. He's a cool figure and all, but that's really all to say about him. Now, moving on to Frodo. Exact same figure from Rivendell, besides no cape. Exact same with Sam. He has the ring, 2 head prints, and if you do have Rivendell, it comes with an extra copy of Sting, so you can give him that. Him and Sam also do have orc disguises, although all that includes is just a helmet. But if you do want to increase it, what I did was buy armor, so you can place that over Frodo, place him on like that, and place the armor on him, so you have a full-on orc disguise for him. And I'll do the exact same with Sam, since I did get 2 armor pieces to go and upgrade those figures. I almost did forget to mention that, but if you do, you can take a look at when I actually put the correct helmet on. Sam with the orc helmet. And just in case I'm wrong about the helmets, I'll swap them around. But I'm pretty sure I was right. That's Sam with the other orc helmet. And this is Frodo with the other orc helmet. But now to move into the unique figures to this set, we have Smeagol, better known as Gollum, and this figure is a real downgrade from the original. Arms cannot move up and down as well. And if I grab one of the rings from Frodo, he can't even put it on. I actually have a few extra Gollum limbs with my extra pieces from the original set, so I'll probably swap those out. And yeah, although I also don't like the eyes just being one color. I liked it a lot more when they were fully printed. But I'll talk about that in my video a few days up comparing minifigures. Up next, we have one of the two green orcs. These were called Moria orcs in the original line, but just green orcs here. Well, I think it's just called orc, but this one's supposed to be a forger, as in like an armorer or blacksmith. There we go. Can't think of the word for a second. The other orc is the exact same, so I'm not really gonna look at him. And yeah, honestly, cool figure, but nothing too different. The next is this orc soldier, and he has one of these new helmets. He also has a sword, and yeah, honestly, it looks pretty cool. There is another type of helmet, which I will show off now, and that is this type. You also put that on him, but this is how this figure is built. And then there's another one just like him, showing off a different side of his head print, but only difference is he's holding this giant sausage and has the Under Armour to Gothmog, although he has a different arm on. We now have Gothmog, and this is the orc, who is funny enough based off of the really awful man Harvey Weinstein. He has a unique armor plate, or armor chest plate, leg printing under, and a unique head print. And yeah, honestly, it looks pretty cool. Now, moving on to the two figures that everyone wants. We first have the Mouth of Sauron. And again, I'll be comparing him to the original soon, but popping it off, you can see no head, no eye print, really creepy mouth, and a fully rubber helmet. Good thing is mine wasn't crushed in shipping. This is pushed a little bit back, but it's not too noticeable. And finally, the minifigure everyone wanted. We have the Dark Lord Sauron. An incredible figure. The armor looks amazing, as does his helmet. He has a cape, which I'll flip up just so you can see a little bit of his backside. And finally, you have his evil red eyes with no mouth. And I'm sure if someone's probably edited together this and the Mouth of Sauron together so you could see Sauron with his mouth. I'm not probably going to do that because I just don't have the time, and this video is going to take a while to record anyway. But yeah, honestly, those are all the figures. And now I can start moving on to the builds. Now, doing the review, I'm going to do this a little differently than how most people probably be doing it. Most people are going from the bottom floor to the top. Instead, I'll be going from the top to the bottom, with a single exception of looking at this small area of Mount Doom. And although I think this is intended to be where Frodo fights Gollum and the ring is destroyed, I just really don't see it. I'd say, maybe more accurately, either the place where Sauron's gaze falls upon Frodo, or, more accurately to what I think, this is the rock that Frodo and Sam lie upon after destroying the ring, where they get rescued by the eagles. But it's a really small, simple build, and it's just something they have to put Frodo, Sam, and Gollum somewhere. Do wish they had something a little better, but that's really my only complaints with the set. Now let's move on to the tower itself. Beginning to look at the tower, we begin with the Eye of Sauron, and this is honestly a really impressive build. It does have some basic movement functions. I'll show that off in just a minute, but the build around it's made to look like the eye is lighting it up. And although there is a small function where this goes into light up the light brick, which I'll show off towards the end, because it's kind of a pain in the butt to pull that out. I have to free from my hand. If you had a brick behind the light brick, which you have to pull that brick out to do, you can actually light up the eye itself on a more permanent basis as long as the battery doesn't die out. But as long as I hold this in place and turn off my light, you can take a look at the Eye of Sauron fully lit up, and that is just an impressive, intimidating look. You can move it left, right, where the eye to be gazing around. Also, you can move it up and position this a little more to have it facing further up, or have it facing down and have it a little more clear on there. But it all depends on how you want it to look. And if I turn the light back on, you can see it in a little more clear light once again. Pulling this brick out of the back, you can more easily see, if I turn around, the small little build, and just as easily push this back in and have a little button here to light it up. But again, if you want to, you could take that out and have a brick sitting there permanently, or at least temporarily whenever you want to light up the eye. And as you can see, the eye is pretty well secured, and it does give a good illusion that it is floating there, although it is not perfect since there are the small black poles at the back. But now let's move down to the rest of the tower. Alright, now that we looked at the eye, which, just note for self, I recorded that later at night while I'm editing. We can take a look at the different levels. The first, or really last level, is Sauron's study. And here we have a tablet that has information about the rings. There's the 3, 7, 9, and 1. And then there's this ladder that can move around a bunch. As you can see, one side has some books down here with a candle, and the other side has just some more books, a skeleton, and these 2 little torches lighting it up. Moving down to the level below it, we have the Mouth of Sauron's study. Here we have a letter and a quill. We also have Frodo's mithril shirt, which is taken from him. Over here we have a sticker that has, it's kind of hard to see, but a picture of Saruman, the Fell Beast and Nazgul build that was included with the promo. Good reminder to anyone who didn't get that they missed out. So, good job on that, LEGO. Obviously, I'm being sarcastic. And then one of the coolest things, a picture of Sauron, but it would have been a lot better if they included the ring printing on it, since it would have been on there with Sauron having the ring. And then there are these 2 axes. Now, moving to the exterior. If I pan up just a little bit, you can see these cool little flaps going down. Which then goes down to spikes, then to these kind of rough spike designs, going down to these flames that all face the same way. Moving to the front, you have this really cool blade design, which goes down to this continuous ring of spikes and has these windows with orange light going through them. As you continue to see, flames are going the same way. Finally, here we have another window with these large, like, tail fin pieces going up to another window, going up to more spikes, and another one of those flaps. Now that I finished up looking at the most prominent and memorable section, let's move on to lower levels. But before I do that, honestly, I'll show just a little thing. Down here, there's a little place where you can put a pin in to attach it. And I'll probably show that off just right towards the end of the video. But now let's move on to that next section. The next level of Barad-Dûr, which is clearly the smallest, is the Throne of Sauron. And this is mainly since it doesn't need to be huge just for this small area. Plus, it is just kind of here for the rock formation. And we never actually have seen Sauron's throne. But if we take a look inside, we have two banners with the red eye of Sauron. We have Sauron's throne. One problem with this build is these pieces are very loose fitted. Not going to mess around with it too much, but they could easily pop out. But if you pull this little tab, as you saw in the intro, it opens up to a map of Middle-earth behind it, two kind of like tunnels going on, and a palantir. I will pull that out to look at it. The palantir itself has on one side the flaming trees of Gondor, or white tree of Gondor actually. Sorry, I misspoke a little bit. And the Shire on fire. And I feel like how the Eye of Sauron was hidden into Rivendell, these are pieces of our next sets. I feel like our next one's either going to be the city of Minas Tirith and or Bag End. I feel like, although I want to be Minas Tirith more, I feel like it's probably going to be Bag End, since that's one that probably doesn't need to be in the picture, but hopefully I am wrong. And I feel like we're going to be seeing this print again for Minas Tirith when we eventually get it, because it's on a headpiece. Pushing this in, you can also see the kind of cool pattern on the floor, which is mainly covered up, but fits really well with the design of the throne. Moving to the sides, there's some simple rock work here, alongside the fact that we have another window, and another window here, and there's really cool rock work design here. There's a small little clip down here for it to clip onto the next level. And if you continue around, you see more stonework going to here where it kind of ends. And finally, on both sides, you have these little pieces to slide it into the other level. And this one also does have a roof, but it's pretty plain, so not much to show. Besides this little thing where that one area is attached from the upper levels of Barad-Dûr. But now let's move on to the next lower level. Our next level we have is the Orc Mess Hall, and this is the one I'm most hesitant about. While I think it is, kind of comedic and goes in with Lego, I feel like this probably should have been the dungeons and torture chambers that Sauron gets information out of Gollum from. In fact, one thing I forgot to mention with the tower section, at the top you can create multiples of that section leading up to the eye to make the tower taller. I am not immediately going to probably be buying the pieces to create the exterior and have one level be the torture chambers and dungeons of Sauron, and the other one probably be a shrine to Melkor. Might split into 3 levels, maybe also have a treasury where he'll be storing the 12 rings, I think, that he currently possesses. The 9 for men, and I think 3 for dwarves that weren't destroyed. But if we take a look at this, there's a simple table which I'll pull out. That's what I was trying to avoid. That's why I was being so slow. But there's a few cups, chicken legs, bones, and a sausage. Placing it back on, there's a small pot over here that has a bone and a carrot. And it's also powered by lava, which sounds like a cool little design. Back here, we have a menu that says there's meat on it. Obviously a joke to meat being back on the menu. And then at the back fully we have sort of like a chef area with a pot, chicken leg, golden cup, and some spices or roots really, and a knife. You pop that back on, and finally over here, empty barrel and a keg probably filled with some foul orc drink, as it would probably be called. I can't remember its exact name from the books, but moving up, you can see the towers popping up here, and moving to the side, you can better look at the first one. This one is shorter, has a little bit of a mountain side here, and you can see the flames. Now moving on to this exterior, the main section, you have these really cool pillars that go fully around. Small little clips here you use to slide it into the final section. And continuing to turn it, you have these really cool pillar designs. And moving finally to the last section, you have a flame here leading up to the other tower. Let's take a closer look at this one, because this design is pretty nice. There's these little pillars around it going up to spikes. And this looks really cool, these triangular designs. Yeah, see, this level's pretty cool, although it's probably my least favorite of it. Although, as you'll see, as you go down each lower level, it gets more and more detailed with the exterior designs. With the exception of the top and the eye, which is probably the most complicated and coolest looking design. Finally, looking at the base, this is a beast, and it's going to be hard to move this around. So, starting off, to get a view from the interior, there's a little knob over here, which I'll show from the back side what it looks like when you open the doors. And you could slide that back in. Over here is the cage that the skeleton goes in. And all you really do is move these gears. There's no really complicated... Yeah, there's no complicated hidden way. I'm trying to think on the other side. To lower this body over the lava. Well, I might create a few more of those designs to have prisoners held in that final level, which will be a full-on dungeon and torture chamber. We then have a bunch of those cool little designs. There's the blacksmith forge over here, which includes a lava river coming in, which is supposed to be the exact same lava river that fuels the kitchen, since the kitchen would be right about here. It has a small area to grab stuff. You have a small little anvil design over here, which looks pretty nice. And then back here you have an orc gear weapon rack. It has these two little shoulder pads and this helmet. Over here you have a barrel that just has a spear and an orc sword. I think those are more supposed to be Uruk-hai swords in the movie. I can't remember if the Mordor orcs use the same blades. Here we now have kind of like a sharpening wheel. So they just put their blades on there to help sharpen it. Over here there's another stand that shows off more helmets. And finally, other things you can pull off, a small section to carry shields. There are a few other like open spots you could put things on, and you can build more stuff if you want. Well, that's just the basics of it. A lot of gears in here, as you can see, to help open the doors. But let's do the small tedious process of turning after we take a look at Gollum's cave that just really has a fish in there. You can see that there. Alright, now moving to the side, you can take a look at this. This is the mechanism that turns to open the doors. Now let's finish it off. Turning it again. We now have the front of it. We have more of these black towers that rise up. And if you want to take a look at the door opening from the front side, that's what it looks like. That's the best view you can get of it. This leads up to the small little gate that they can march out of. And then, if you want to, you could build out a bridge for them to cross, since this goes over a higher chasm. But you can also have it just end off here, which is why it steps down but leads to nothing. Now, once again, moving to this side, more of these little pillar designs and windows that kind of been boarded up. But yeah, honestly, this is really all for the exterior, and honestly, I really love this level of just how cool it is in terms of details and with its mechanisms. I would say probably my favorite room is Sauron's throne room, followed probably by this. The next one would probably be the, I don't know, it's either Sauron's study or the Mouth of Sauron's study. And finally, my least favorite is the dining area. But now let's move over to the other section to show how you put these levels together. Okay, I'm going to be doing this kind of freehand, so the camera will be shaking a lot, but first level you grab, take it, and slide it in. You wait for it to clip, and that's in there. You then grab the next level, turn it around, and once again, slide it in. Make sure it clips, and tug it on just a little bit, just to make sure it's secure. Finally, grab the level with the eye. Make sure it clips onto the bricks there. And you grab this little pin and slide it in to make sure it's secure. So this is what the backside looks like when I fully zoom out and bend back a bunch. But yeah, honestly, one more shot as I go grab the black gate and show what it looks like in front of this, and then we can finish up this video. Finally, placing the black gate in front of it. It is a lot smaller. I am planning on building a second one of these towers to put on this side. I do have all the pieces. I'm just gonna wait a little bit since I spent a bunch of money on Lego recently. But you could open the gates here and create a small pathway leading to this, and then you could go up and to the top of the tower where you see the eye. But yeah, honestly, that's really all I have now. Let me know what you think of this, and let me know in the comments, and I'll see you on the next episode of Legends and Theories. Thank you for watching this episode of Legends and Theories. Please subscribe, like the video, share the video, leave a comment, check out the video on screen, and may the Force be with you.